Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Tuesday, April 9th, you're tuning into the Daily Bone podcast. Today, we are joined by Spencer to discuss the potential market cap of runes with the Bitcoin having less than 2 weeks away, scheduled for 420. We'll see if that's actually how it shakes out. That would be pretty damn funny and quite frankly, a legendary moment in history. We'll also discuss the best blast farming opportunities and the recent surge in SocialFi. Everybody on crypto Twitter is talking about SocialFi right now. I do want to let everybody know that the show is brought to you in partnership with Honeyland. You see the Twitter handle at Play Honeyland on the Twitter Spaces stage. If that's how you're consuming this content, Honeyland is a mobile-first play-to-earn casual strategy game for iOS and Android. So all you mobile game lovers should definitely check out Honeyland. They announced a massive multi-million ticker HXD token airdrop yesterday, as well as many other key updates around the gameplay, marketplace, and partnerships, which we will be discussing later on with their co-founder, Wright. So very excited to have Honeyland partnering with us on today's show. This game is surging in popularity recently. The daily active players have 2x'd to 18,000 in the last 30 days. If you want to get involved, you can download Honeyland right now by using the link that's pinned on Twitter. It's in the YouTube description. Clemente's got it on the screen on YouTube if you're watching the video feed, or just go to the App Store on your phone and look up Honeyland. That's just the word honey and the word land, all one word. Really excited about this. We'll get cooking with Honeyland later on in the show. Clemente.
Yeah, I will say I downloaded the game on the App Store, connect it super easy. You connect your Phantom wallet and then it checks you for NFTs that you own within the game. It was actually pretty, I'm not a big gamer. I'm a mobile game kind of guy, Candy Crush, Clash Royale kind of thing. And it was actually super easy to play. I played it for a little bit this morning. So I'm excited to talk to the team in a bit.
Hell yeah. Some mobile game addicts get involved. Look, we got Spencer on the show today, so we always want to, make sure that we can get cooking with him for a very information dense show. Signal, please take it away with the weather report, and then we will get to a conversation with Spencer.
Absolutely. It's Tuesday, April 9th, everyone. That ETH market volume is coming at 14 million. Solana at 8.5, ordinals at 35 million. Onto the market leaders, and on Ethereum, Sugartown Aura's led the way. They're up about 50% to 0.22 ETH. Campai Pandas are up to 2.3, and over on Solana, Mutant Mun, they're up to 1.5. So with Sharks as well, up to 6.5. Finally, on ordinals, it's a Tiny Vikings rune mining project that is up to 0.014 BTC, and Rune Pups is all runes over there. They're up another 30% to 0.08 BTC. On the crypto roundup, major dips slightly with BTC down to 70,800. ETH is pretty much even at 3,600, and Sol is down to $175 as we saw 220 million of BTC ETF outflows on Monday. Standout tokens, it's just been Pac Moon that continues to run on the back of the Beeble every day. That is up almost another 70% to 90 million market cap. The Tensor token that was airdropped yesterday traded over 1 billion in volume and currently sits at 1.9 billion market cap. And the Pups token continues its first mating run, up 65% and up to a total market cap of over 300 million across Sol and BTC. Over the past 24 hours, top three stories: Brentech, it's back. It saw a huge influx of activity, so with 7.4 million of inflows. The protocol also saw 40,000 transactions yesterday. That's been the most since October last year. Ansem has the highest key at 6 ETH, and he posted screenshots of his 200,000 Brentech points, currently worth over $1 million at current OTC prices of $5.4. Over on gaming, Parallel TCG announced Parallel League, a global gaming tournament that will have $500,000 in total prizes. The league will consist of a number of major tentpole events and sanctioned satellite events. These events will culminate in the Prime Championships tournament. Prime token is up almost 20% on the week to 2.6 billion fully diluted market cap. And then finally, for the blast farmers out there, NFT future trading platform NFT Perps opened to the public yesterday. Users can currently short or long a select group of NFTs, including Pudgies, Miladies, and Punks. There is currently a trading competition live with users being rewarded that gorgeous blast gold based on their rank. That is all for the weather report. It is back to you folks in the studio.
Fantastic weather report as usual, Signal. Interesting to hear some of those blast updates. I'm sure we will touch on that with Spencer. Some updates from the Daily Bone newsletter. This is emailed to anyone that subscribes at dailybones.com. First story, the NFTFi Foundation announces tokenomics for the April ticker NFTFi token launch with 8.5% of total supply allocated for NFTFi users. For context, NFTFi is an OG Ethereum lending platform. Next story, Art Launchpad and Marketplace Foundation concludes its base Genesis collection auctions, raising 22 Ethereum, led by a winning bid of 4.2069 Ethereum for Jack Butcher's semi-perfect piece. That's out of the Visualize Value collection. Last story, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse predicts that the crypto market will double by the end of the year and reach a $5 trillion market cap. I think I'm on the same page as Brad. I'd be wondering what the Bitcoin CEO has to say about that. But nonetheless, very interesting update from Brad at Ripple. Upcoming mints before we dive in with Spencer. There's Today the Game. This collection is minting on Ethereum today at 11 a.m. Eastern time. There's a 777 supply and the price is free. This is a very hyped up AI social simulation game that just raised $5 million in seed funding. The mint is free, but only available via allow list. So if you want to jump in, you have to buy on secondary. This seems like a Gabe Layden style strategy right here, Clemente, where it's like it's free, it's low supply, they got a funding round. So this it's a good recipe to get a lot of interest. Any other thoughts, Clemente?
People are very excited about this one. I've seen numerous people talking about it, especially in the gaming world. And Ray, our researcher, said this is going to be a cook. His prediction is 1 ETH. We'll see if it pans
higher.
out.
Higher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you, higher. They were at GDC. They were one of the projects most people were extremely excited about. There was like an alpha night where people talked about what it is that they're working on. And today the games team was like on top of it. Like their team seems like they have a very clear path forward and know exactly what it is they're leaning into. It fits the AI and gaming narrative and that kind of crossover. So I think this is at 1.5 probably is my target.
Wow.
1.2 to 1.5 out the gate, low supply, fits everything and potential token launch later in the year. So it's right. You got all the buzzwords for it.
Very interesting. Wow, that's fascinating. So look, we're gonna shift gears here to Spencer. Spencer, been a little bit since you've been on the show. Obviously, good to see you several times last week at NFT NYC. It's like those NFT conferences kind of feel like your Super Bowl. You're very locked in. You're ready to hit all the events. You're hanging out with the big wigs, if you will. Where are we at right now with NFT, Spencer? I mean, we have your largest holding, or I'm assuming it's your largest holding, the Pudgy Penguins ecosystem. Little Pudgy sitting at a 1.04 Ethereum floor. What are the big Pudgies at right now? Maybe 14 ETH? Is that what they're not on the top collection?
Big Pudgies are around 12
under 12.
ETH. Yeah,
under 12.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay. A lot of people are commenting on the kind of lack of focus from the market on the NFT or on NFTs in general. What do you make of what's going on? What do you make of the price action and where do you think we go from here?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's pretty clear that the market is focused on Solana meme coins right now, right? Like I think one of the things you got to look at that's really interesting is the Tensor airdrop from yesterday. And the Tensor token trading at a $2 billion market cap or FDV, right? That's especially interesting because like Tensor does not do anywhere near as much volume as Blur does, right? And Blur's market cap is sitting at, less than that, right? So shiny new coins on Solana are just performing better than anything on ETH is what's happening, right? And I think that's a pretty clear-cut example of a marketplace that does significantly less volume than another marketplace that also has a token launches with a token that's higher market cap, right? So we see FDV of Blur is 1.7 billion. FDV of Tensor, I mean, I don't know what it's at right now, but it was around two something yesterday. Maybe it's around the same. So yeah, 1.8. Now, pretty close, right? But if I think, Clemente, I don't know if you have a volume chart handy of Tensor's volume relative to Blur's volume, but it's just like not particularly close, right? Like this is a protocol doing significantly less volume than Blur, but things on Solana just cook harder right now, right? And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of the big reasons for that is that we see exchanges being much more aggressive about listing Solana tokens, right? I think one of the big drivers of that was you saw OKX really won. A few months ago we had BRC20 happen, right? OKX was the exchange that listed BRC20 tokens. Binance didn't really list them. KuCoin, Bybit didn't really list that, right? OKX won a ton of market share from listing BRC20. And that really woke a lot of the exchanges up from their slumber. And you've seen the last couple of months, I mean, how quickly was Bohm listed, right? How quickly was Slurf listed? I think it was 4 hours to list Slurf. Like, that's nuts.
And
that
yet
doesn't
with
happen.
not listed though, which is very strange.
With not listed on
Coinbase.
Coinbase. Yeah. And so there's something special going on Solana right now in terms of like volume, attention, energy, right? And if you look at Ethereum NFTs, that special thing was what happened last cycle, right? We saw special attention to Ethereum NFTs. Now it's a tough market. I mean, I think call a spade, right? Even Pudgy's, which was doing the strongest, is down a bunch from its highs. That being said, like if you take a step back, when we were buying NFTs, and I think we talked about this a lot in the show back in this period of time, the cost basis is so ridiculously low that it kind of doesn't matter, right? Like we were like, I like holding NFTs when I feel comfortable with a 50% pullback, which is what we had, right? And if you look also in a US dollar cost basis, right? So ETH cost basis, we were buying Pudgies at like 2 to 5 ETH, right?
Yep.
Oh no, they're at only 12 ETH. If you told me 6 months, 12 months ago that we were gonna be at 12 ETH, I'd be ecstatic, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, all right, sad that we're down from the 22 ETH we were at a couple months ago, but like it's not a bad outcome where we're at right now in that particular collection, right? From a US dollar cost basis too, like ETH is up significantly. ETH is up more than 2x from when we were buying in that 2 to 5 ETH range, right? And so that's like really how you make your money is on the compounding sides of those. Now, you also have to remember the airdrops, right? We've already received Dimension airdrop from Pudgy. NIM airdrop is coming up. Like, I think there's certain NFTs where if you can look at like, okay, what airdrop allocations are they getting? Omni Network was announced yesterday. Like it feels kind of hard to see a world where Pudgy's doesn't return its cost basis today in just airdrops, right? Like we know we have those two. I think there's a lot of speculation on if Pudgy are getting a layer 0 airdrop. There's speculation on if they're getting an eigenlayer airdrop. There's speculation on if they're getting a Barachain airdrop, right? Like there's a lot. And then there's like if they do their own token. Like I think that actually NFTs are significantly more interesting now than they've been in a long time because with what's happening, which is a whole market sell-off, there are certain things that feel really mispriced. Another one to me, Mochaverse having a big sell-off on the one-day chart, like 16%. $sign Mocha is an upcoming thing. Like we know this. This is an announced thing. This is coming. The question is, are Ethereum tokens feeling as bad as Ethereum NFTs? And I don't believe that's the case, right? And you can, and I think that that's largely driven to like we have a big movement of, I mean, the thing that's being like about to happen, right, is there's a ton of Ethereum L2s launching, right? We have Eigenlayer, we have Barachain, we have all this stuff coming. We have, ZK Sync. But like Ethereum tokens are certainly not dead. Ethereum tokens are still doing lots of volume. You have, Blast token coming, which I think a lot of people are speculating is going to be one of the largest airdrops maybe ever, right? Like, what do we think the FDV of Blast is going to be? It wouldn't shock me if it's 20 billion. It wouldn't shock me even if it's 25, 30 billion, which is a crazy number. So like, I think there's actually a lot to happen on ETH, and it makes like the lack of attention in Ethereum NFTs. And again, guys, for me, it's always been a game of the point of Ethereum NFTs is that they should ultimately have ERC20 airdrops, right? And so which ones do we know are having them? Which ones can we speculate might have them? We know Azuki's going to have one. We know Mochaverse is going to have one, right? Both of these, as with all ERC20s, are a game of who's going to get listed on Binance. Do we think $Anime gets listed on Binance? Do you think Mochaverse, it does that $Mocha gets listed on Binance?
And you're focused on Binance because the Binance mafia props up the price in a significant way?
I mean, you gotta look like it's actually interesting. It's not as extreme as it has been in the past, most recently. So like like the biggest proof point of that is actually Gaiman. I don't know if you guys saw Gaiman. Gaiman launched, did not get a Binance listing, and still hit the $2 billion FDV mark. And that was wild to see. They launched on, I think, KuCoin and Bybit, and I believe OKX, although that may not be correct. But they definitely did not launch on Binance or Coinbase, right? And historically, you would say, okay, in order to hit the $1 billion FDV, you absolutely need to launch on Binance or Coinbase. And that does not seem to be the case right now. So I would say Binance is certainly the strongest pump that comes is a Binance listing, right? You should look at the numbers. It's pretty obvious. But there are other paths to large FDVs, right? And so you see, but at like 3.65 ETH floor, right? Times $3,600 ETH times what's supply of Mochaverse, right?
They are 8888.
So 8888 times 3.6.
Little
times,
market cap math here, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, we're looking at like $115 million market cap for Mochaverse, right? Then you got to do the math on like what gets distributed to them in terms of the supply of the token. You know, do you think $Mocha from Animocha is $1 billion token? Is it a $2 billion token? I don't know. Maybe, right? Like, I don't think that's an unreasonable take. And certainly this is a much more interesting math to do when it's at $100 million than if it was at, you know, like in the last cycle, right? Mochaverse, I would guess, would be at like a 10 to 20 ETH floor, right? And for the math to work out on a 10 to 20 ETH floor there, right? Like then we with ETH, the price it's at, like that's like a $300 to $500 million market cap, right? You got to believe only some of the token is going to the NFT holders. It's probably venture investors, it's a foundation, etc.
They did a public sale as well, community public sale.
Yeah, so like much harder to justify this at a $500 million valuation, but it's more interesting, I would say, lower. And so, you know, again, is it my favorite thing that NFTs aren't the focus? No, but like what we wanted for this cycle was we wanted like I think it was tough to see this cycle being irrationally exuberant in the same way last cycle was for NFTs. And we see this with like, you know, as the tide goes out, who is swimming naked, like we see a lot of projects just completely fold, right? But the ones that are interesting, I would argue Mochaverse is one of those. I would argue Pudgy is one of those, right? Like feel more interesting to look at because there is the potential for returns, right? We actually like basically haven't had an NFT do a token in a while that wasn't a profitable return, right? We saw one of the big wins of the early part of this cycle was Memeland for a lot of people, right?
Yep.
You know, I don't know. Like I think that while things are calmer, less noisy, is the more interesting time to be looking at this asset class.
Well, without question, and you proved that, you know, at the literal in the depths of the previous bear market, when nobody wanted to buy NFTs and you accumulated so many pudgy penguins. I have a question regarding your opinion on retail. The previous NFT bull run featured a whole lot of retail, for sure. And you know, I think when you're talking about the previous exuberance, that's definitely a component of it. I do think that we see retail in this crypto cycle. I've been tweeting, and it's been kind of cool to see people like Will Clemente and others basically agree with my tweets without acknowledging me, of course, but writing the same thing that I've been writing for a few months, which is when people were saying that they thought retail would come in when Bitcoin hit a new all-time high, aka around $70,000. I didn't think that retail would come there, and I don't think that retail is here yet. I think 100K is a nice round number that'll get retail's attention on the Bitcoin side, and subsequently, I think that stuff will flow into meme coins since retail loves meme coins. But do you think it's realistic that in the next 12 months, retail has any exposure to NFTs?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the interesting thing about this cycle is I don't think that retail, like the net new retail, has come in on chain at all.
Yeah.
It's at like 300th in the App Store, right? Maybe so. And I think this is why we see Solana meme coins like pumping is retail has piled in their savings account to the ETF. That's where retail is going, right? In prior cycles, retail came on chain and was trading other stuff. Now, what that means is that people, like the items that people have bags of who have been here for you know, since the last cycle, like can't pump because there's no net inflows of people to buy it from them. The only things that can pump exposure to, right? Which is why Solana meme coins make a lot of sense, right? What was the asset class that everyone who had been operating for on-chain was underexposed to was Solana meme coins, right? And so there was liquidity within the market to go to Solana to buy those bags, right? Conversely, like everyone, like if you wanted exposure to NFTs and you've been here, there was plenty of time to pick it up over time, right? There isn't new people coming in saying, what do I want my on-chain crypto exposure to be? And then buying NFTs, right? But that, again, like, I don't think that that's bearish because those people, like, where they flow typically is not into like having a ledger or trading on chain, which is what you need to do to buy and sell NFTs. They flow into Coinbase app. They flow into Binance app if they're outside the US. They flow into like, Bybit if they're in Korea. Like they flow into like KuCoin, right? Like that's where these retail flows typically go. And so I agree with you, Pio. I don't think we're at peak retail inflow right now. That should come soon. We have seen retail inflow, and like again, this is an interesting moment where we see like the competition between the Wall Street structured product and the like degen on-chain thing. And surprise, surprise, Wall Street's really good at funneling money into their thing, right? Like if you're like, oh, crypto's back, I want crypto exposure, I think it's pretty obvious the first thing you should think about if you're a retail investor is let me put some of my Roth IRA into a Bitcoin spot ETF and not think about it for 20 years, 40 years, right? And this is good for our industry overall, but like it's not obvious to me the answer is, oh, let me like download Phantom Wallet, like load up, even Solana, right? Like, and I think we see this the most of where retail inflows are going, but like download MetaMask, load it up with some ETH and go buy some NFTs on Blur by depositing into the bidding contract and placing bids. Like this is not how people are onboarded into the space right now. And you may think that that's a bearish take, but it's not. Like that's the most bullish take for what NFTs are. If they ultimately launch a coin that goes, because like the coin that the NFT launches ultimately goes to the place where retail inflows do go, right? Which is the Coinbase app, which is the Binance app, which is the KuCoin and the Bybit app, right? Like your bullish thesis here as someone who operates on chain, who is more sophisticated, should be where can I put money that can move up in pools of generality of who has access to buying the bags that I have, right? And I think you see this as like one of the most well-distributed coins ever is $meme, right? If you look at the number of holders. Now, the number of holders achieved post Binance listing for meme is unthinkable and impossible to achieve just on chain, right? And so I think that's where you see how can you as an on-chain operator, like you have two choices when you're an on-chain trader. You can PvP other on-chain traders. This is very hard. Even I don't really attempt this, right? And like we have a lot of resources at the fund. But like if you want to PvP with CBB OFE trying to farm Blur, like be my guest. This is not a winning idea, right? However, if your idea is not just I'm PvPing on chain with other people on chain who are at this point in the cycle, also I should mention, very sophisticated. Like the average on chain participant is very sophisticated. This should not be surprising to anyone who has played video games. If you've ever logged into Overwatch and played a ranked game, you know how good the average player of Overwatch is 5 years into Overwatch being out, 6 years into Overwatch being out, right? This is a thing that happens. It's skill creep across the average player base. There is significant skill creep across the average player base on chain, right? The number of like even just random fat fingers happening in NFTs, which is something we track, has gone down substantially, right? Why? Because the retail isn't inflowing to on-chain activity, which means that everyone who is participating in on-chain activity, which is still a lot of people, has been here for a couple of years, has made the mistakes, has tried again. Now, I'm not saying everyone's a genius, right? But like the difficulty of PvPing on chain has increased significantly this cycle to last cycle because net new inflows of capital don't go directly there.
Fair. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense to me. So what does that actually mean for the NFT market? Does it mean that people that it doesn't like say Pudgy Penguins, right? You got 1 million Instagram followers. You got 15 billion GIF views. These are metrics that if you listen to the team for Pudgy Penguins, they're going to talk about them. They're going to put them in decks. They're going to say, we are, we're going mainstream, things like that. But does any of that actually matter for the NFT price then? Because it sounds like the game is to just attract crypto people because there's kind of no shot, right? I mean, I don't know.
Well, again, so my argument here is going to be this, is that I think this matters a lot, but not because it attracts people to buying the NFT. Like your thesis on holding the NFT doesn't need to be NFT price go up, right? Your thesis for holding NFT, and I think this is being proven pretty clear right now, and something I've been yelling at the top of my lungs for months. You guys can go back and clip the recordings, right? Is you don't need to hold NFTs expecting price to go up. You need to hold NFTs expecting token to be allocated, right? And so when you look at those Giphy views and you look at all those things, right, there's two things that matter. One is the ability for Pudgy Penguins to attract airdrops, right, from other chains. Pudgy Penguin community shill ability on the timeline. Pudgy Penguins access externally, right? Like the Giphy views are important, but like, I mean, how many people were shilling Dimension that were Pudgy Penguin holders? How many people who are Pudgy Penguin holders stake Dimension? These are the numbers that matter, right? And then ultimately, where does the Giphy views, where does that public appeal really matter? It matters when Pudgy does its own coin, right? Like that's what really, really matters, is because there will be retail on exchanges, right? Like where does Ray being CEO of 9gag matter? It matters when the coin comes out, right? Like that's where it really matters, because people look and they say, okay, Memeland is run by the CEO of 9gag, right? I, as retail, trading on Binance, trading on KuCoin, trading on Bybit, trading on OKX, trading on Coinbase, look at that and say, oh, I have some confidence, right? I think it does matter to the net new inflow of retail. And it matters also because, like, how do you make it cool, right? Like, this is the hardest thing. This is the thing I think that has lost its touch in NFTs in a way that, like, maybe it comes back, maybe it doesn't, is like, there was a time where having a Bored Ape was cool. There was a time where having a CryptoPunk was cool, right? Like, I think it still is kind of cool to have a CryptoPunk, but it certainly is not as cool, right? And one of the other challenges that NFTs have faced, I think punks specifically face this the most, is the opportunity cost of putting ETH into NFTs is the highest it's ever been, right? You have EigenLayer restaking is the biggest competitor to NFTs in the market right now for Ethereum, right? Why do I say that? Because you can go stake Ethereum on EigenLayer. You can earn your yield off your ETH, and you can also earn airdrops on like 8 protocols at the same time. You put it in EigenLayer, you stake it in one protocol, you borrow against it, you put it in another protocol, right? You could put it on Blast. You could put it on Blast. You could LP it into Juice. You could borrow against your ETH on Juice, put it into Wasabi. You're earning like gold on both plus airdrop on both. And there's all these funky ways that you can earn 30 to 70% APY effectively on ETH right now, which that wasn't really the case last cycle. Like that's the thing that's happening. And again, right, like what are the big trends? The big trends is like there is a million L2s with tons of backing happening. And all of those L2s are running the same farming playbook, which is bridge your ETH into our L2, park it in our protocols, farm our L2, we'll give you some yield off Lido or something, right? And like, okay, if it's much easier to say this is going to yield, like that whole situation is going to yield me like 20, 30, 40%. And then looking at a punk and saying, is the punk going to go up 20, 30, 40% in ETH over the next year, right? Like that's the biggest competition for, I think, a lot of the liquidity that was previously in NFTs is like, there's all of these sort of lower risk feeling things, right? And then you got to take a step back from that and you say, what's the real play? What's actually going on? The real play is everything is a bet on an Ethereum ETF, right? I'm firmly convinced everything in the ETH ecosystem is a bet on Ethereum ETF. And so people are much more precious with their precious Ethereums because they're waiting for the ETF. And I think that's one of the other like looming things happening here. Now you have to wonder, and it's not obvious to me, do Ethereum NFTs go up in price in an Ethereum ETF situation or down in price? We saw Solana NFTs go up in price significantly with a Solana pump, right? We saw Bitcoin ordinals do significantly well with Bitcoin ETF, right? These are correlated. Now, it's not obvious to me. You could say that and say, oh, well, Ethereum NFTs must pump. No, we've seen many times, right? Like the decrease in price of Pudgy Penguins, that everything highly correlated with an increase in price of Ethereum, right? Like, you know, people say this on the timeline, and I tend to agree with this. Is like, oh no, Pudgy Penguins feel like they've gone down a lot in the last like couple of months, right? From 22 ETH to 12 ETH, they went from $60,000 to $40,000, right? Like this is not the craziest sell-off in US dollars, but like, gee, it felt bad to have been an Ethereum maxi and sidelined from the Ethereum run effectively by having ETH in NFTs, right? And so the question is, does the expected airdrops coming from the NFTs yield greater than the expected like value obtained from Lido restake, from eigenlayer restaking or from blast farming, right? Blast farming feels incredibly good right now as it pertains to gold. Like I think, you look at NFT stats has made a lot of compelling arguments for why gold might be incredibly valuable. You've seen a lot of arguments for, not only farming the airdrop itself from the chain, but also the protocols on it, right? You have these crazy things. I think you saw Juice TVL hit like it's top like 10 TVL of DeFi protocols. Like that's nuts. So that's really, really high, right? And so you have like these kind of interesting things going on these different L2s. Like, I think it's just a fascinating scenario that we're in right now. Now that being said, like the bullish thing around NFTs, like, and you got to look is like the amount of interesting protocols built on top of them, built around them. You guys are talking about NFT perp. You guys,
Ladies and gentlemen, having a little bit of Wi-Fi issues with Spencer right now, hoping that he will be able to come back. I think this is kind of the hardest, loss of connection that we've experienced. Fascinating conversation. I was, on the edge of my seat trying to understand the things he's thinking about. The next thing I was going to ask him about was what he thinks of Bored Apes, considering the token's already out. The ApeCoin token already exists. And obviously they've been trending down. Pair that with the comment that Spencer made that like Bored Apes used to be cool, NFTs used to be cool. I think it's safe to say that right now that's not the case. Was also going to ask about how he thinks video games play into this, because where my mind has been going is that video games over the next, call it 1 to 3 years, could actually be the thing that makes NFTs make sense again, because when people are playing games that they enjoy and they want to play the game anyway, like if someone wants to play Shrapnel, they want to play Honeyland, and then they want in-game assets in the form of NFTs, and then before you know it, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of players are all using NFTs in game on a daily basis. All of a sudden they might say like, hey, what other NFTs are out there? Oh yeah, I remember those Bored Ape things. And all of a sudden people that are crushing it in game, selling in-game assets, making some crypto off of their gameplay might want to do a little digital flex and plow some money into the traditional NFTs. Definitely going to have to talk to Spencer about the Wi-Fi. Surprised that he's not. I would have thought that the Wi-Fi was just plugged into Spencer himself. I would think that he had an Ethernet going into his body, given the way he operates in the space. I am surprised at the Wi-Fi situation. Clemente, anything that you thought was particularly interesting that Spencer was talking about, or something that you wish that we had asked him while he was here?
I thought the rune stuff is definitely worth talking about with him. Like when you look at the runes market caps, right? Like we have rune stones now at a market cap of $650 million. They're only behind CryptoPunks now. And then pubs have an implied market cap of 350 million. But then you compare that to ETH, you have Doge at 28 billion right now. You have WIF on Solana at 4 billion. It's interesting to start making these comparisons in terms of like, hey, what could the number one meme coin or rune do in terms of like performance in the next 2-3 months? I was very curious to see how he's looking at that. I know Easy's been on top of that as well, so I'm curious what he's been making of it as well. But that was what's sticking out to me right now.
I mean, the meme coin side of things is like the most interesting to me on Solana. Like tokens are literally just sending to 1 million market cap. We just saw one yesterday called like Chilean, which is a Japanese meme, go from a 10K to a 4 million market cap off Pumped Out Fun. And like Pumped Out Fun is where like I think you're seeing so much quote retail liquidity get interested, because it's fair launch. There's no pre-sales, there's no sniping liquidity ads. It basically puts everyone on the same playing field. We just watched Mando launch Epic Duck on that last week during NFT NYC, and that's just cooking. Like, and I made a post about it. He had even responded to it. It was just kind of like, hey, I agree. Like this was the easiest way to launch something because you don't have third-party involvement or like potentially snipers ruining the contract. So I think meme coins are going to continue to be the focus. I don't think it's meme coin season anymore. I think right now it's just like meme coins are becoming an integral part of this. And on top of it, we just saw like Pac Moon, which I guess is a meme coin on Blast. People's now the #1 rank after a singular tweet. So it's like you're going to keep seeing more and more interest on these things as people see instant liquidity versus quote illiquid JPEGs.
Also, Sorry, Nick. Are you doing the
Spencer
tag
tagged
me
me
in?
He
Yeah,
tagged
sorry.
me in.
Tag
I
you in,
got
man.
this
Tag
from
you.
here, Spencer.
Hold on, just hold on. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, man. I know you're ready to jump for the ropes. I can see you. I can see you. Don't crush me right now. But what I wanted to say was, I think the most interesting thing about what Spencer is saying is that if like essentially you always see people on the timeline being like, oh, it's so complicated right now. I wish for simpler times, i.e. 2021. If you want simpler times, you just go over on ordinals. Ordinals right now is all simple times. It's literally a replication of what we had previously. But I think what's more interesting actually is for the people who are like really have stayed in the game is you're basically seeing DeFi summer and even before that meld with NFTs. And it's making the NFT users more sophisticated, having to understand everything that Spencer was just talking about, like being able to put, I don't know, make up liquidity pools, put those in juice, put those in wasabi, like making sure you're not having impermanent loss, receiving like LP tokens. Like there's so much happening now on the NFT side because of blockchains like Blast, forcing users to become more sophisticated, even within the gaming sphere that we just didn't have last time. So I think those opportunities right now are actually far more interesting in terms of upskilling as a crypto user within the space versus what we had in 2021, which I would say has currently been replicated over on ordinals.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, I agree with your point about ordinals. It is for sure the old times comparatively. The Ethereum ecosystem in general is pretty fascinating right now between Ethereum NFTs, between Ethereum's price lagging when it seems like Bitcoin and Solana are not experiencing the same situation. Obviously, a lot of volatility with Solana, despite network issues, which a lot of people are complaining about, but it's not really manifesting itself in the price in a super significant way. Obviously, there's volatility, but it's not like the Solana price is, being cut in half or anything like that. Nick, you were tagged in because of Spencer's Wi-Fi. How's it going, Nick?
It's going well, Theo. I just wanted to make sure that I could wrap this up for Spencer. He sort of deferred to me as sort of his spokesperson at this point.
Well, what do you want to say on behalf of Spencer? I'd be curious.
Man, I just, everything's meme coins now. We're looking at for everything from the meme side, and we've shifted our entire strategy over in that direction. Just because I spoke with a couple of people at some parties at NFT NYC. They're very bullish on it. There was no conversation of NFTs whatsoever. We've taken all of our capital. I mean, I'm flooring the shit out of Pudgy right now, and just moving everything into meme coins, aping in on a just massive scale, to be completely honest. I'm throwing something like $15 million at this point at just random meme coins, many of which are even offensive. But we think that there's a strong upside potential there. And have you seen all these kids getting rich? Like they're putting in hundreds of dollars and making hundreds of thousands of dollars. We can't allow that to be happening as an institution.
Okay, well, you want to prevent the quote kids from making money off of small investments in meme coins that result in big gains.
I'm not talking about preventing the kids. I'm talking about us just they're able to participate. We just want to take all of their money.
The kids.
The meme coin traders. Yeah, exactly. And that's Spencer Ventures.
Interesting. Well, I just was under the impression that it was all about tokens, but it's good to hear the way that you're framing it, Nick. Nick, what do you make of SocialFi? Before we jump in with Corey from Honeyland, what do you make of the SocialFi situation? Frentech saw a $7.4 million daily inflow and 40,000 transactions yesterday, both the highest since October of this year. The V2 goes live on 420, nice, and Frentech points have been trading for $5.40 OTC pre-markets. Top 10 keys all over 2 ETH. Ansom's top key at 6 Ethereum. What do you think of this, Nick?
I mean, this is just incredible. I started delivering alpha once again via my Frentech yesterday. Just absolute insight and just banger after banger. I don't know if I'm speaking to Spencer or myself right now, but both of us really felt the energy coming back in, and we were all over it. I see Spencer revealing once again just you know, a ton of analysis, ton of deep insight that he's provided on his friend tech. I, for example, posted a photo of a behind the scenes moment from our making of the video yesterday as well. And I just wanted to say, you know, this is friend tech is the future. You know, this is it's very clear to me that you know, sorry, I saw Spencer make a funny face there in reaction to that comment, but let's not deny it, Spencer. You're all over this like white on
Yeah,
rice.
Spencer,
you know?
Nick has been speaking on your behalf. So his opinions that he just shared were coming from you.
I am an official spokesperson of SV, as we call it now, nowadays. So yeah, that I just want to say this is the future. Dump in all of our pudgy penguins to get more friend tech keys. That's what we're doing.
What do you think of that, Spencer? Is that what you would have said?
I don't know, something like that, you know, I guess. Well, but you know, if Nick speaks for me, then I guess his word is gospel. So there we go.
Yeah, Spencer, we love having you on the show. We'll figure out the Wi-Fi situation. We're gonna have to jump to you know, speaking with Corey Wright from Honeyland in a moment, but just wanted to give you a chance to give any closing thoughts. Obviously, a lot of insight provided on the Ethereum side of crypto in general, but specifically Ethereum NFTs. Also talking about the mechanics of NFTs in relation to tokens, where the focus of the broader crypto market has been, and why this cycle thus far, still very early in the cycle, hanging out at Bitcoin all-time high. A lot of people expect that 100K before the end of the year is a foregone conclusion, and who knows where we go from there. But would love to know, you know, any kind of closing thoughts that you'd like to leave the audience with before we have you on again in the future, you know, and hopefully with smooth internet for the whole session.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is like you can try and chase the puck or or try and predict where the puck's going, and the answer is like things. When it's hard in crypto to watch something else pump that isn't the bag that you have, right? But like that's sort of necessarily how it happens, right? In the sense of like you can take contrarian bets, and maybe the puck comes to you, but like don't see other things sucking up attention or pumping as an invalidation of a prior thesis you had. If that's the case, then your thesis wasn't very strong. And so I think there's a lot of reasons that people maybe bearish in their NFT bags, maybe bearish on, you know, their GameFi bags, maybe bearish on whatever bag they may have. But like, if you truly have conviction, if it's something that you think works in a fundamental level, then you can zoom out and the attention economy isn't as important, right? Now we know attention economy is important, but like you also lose the most money by chasing random attention economy. Like if you're like sending sold to pre-sales right now, I think you got to take a big step back and look at yourself in the mirror and say like, is this truly my thesis, or am I just chasing something where I don't fully understand the mechanics of what's going on? And I think 99% of what's happening often is people doing the latter, right? And how do you round trip your bags? How do you look at remember what you thought last cycle when the music stopped, right? Were you comfortable in the positions where you had? Did you feel like you could have played things differently, right? Were you someone who was chasing attention economy and ended up getting the attention economy pulled out from under you, right? Or were you someone who watched people with high conviction with be rewarded at various points, right? Like the question is not, are my bags pumping in this moment in the cycle, but will my bags pump at some point in the cycle? That's the question you should have. Like, is there one more pump left? That's always the question you should ask about your bags.
It's a funny way of phrasing. Is there what? I just need one more, just one more pump.
Well, if there isn't one more pump left, then just fucking sell it, right? Like if there is, then sell it during the pump. If there's two more pumps left, then, you know, diamond hand that shit, right? But like, is there at least one more pump left?
And I think it's, I mean, look, I'm going to go ahead and operate under the thesis that there's one more Ethereum NFT pump left in the future of the world ever. Yeah. I have to go ahead and operate with that. I can't say that there's another Ansem's cat pump left. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if another Ansem's cat meme coin is going to pump, but the broad Ethereum
I would
NFT.
take the over that another one does.
I'm taking the over.
I'm hammering that over. There will 100% be another Ansem cat, Ansem dog, parakeet, you name it. Whatever he tweets is going to pump.
Well, Spencer, next time you come on, would love to dive into Blur and Blast and also understand, you know, the way you're thinking about, you know, some of the majors too, because I do find that fascinating. I know that's not your main focus, but obviously it's as an investment professional for going on 2.5 years or something like that. You can correct me on that in this space. I would love to hear what you have to say about that. But anyway, before we move on, anywhere people should find you, obviously at Spencer, just the name Spencer on Twitter, a very cool handle to have. Anywhere else you want to send people, Spencer?
Yeah, you know, Twitter's the main place people can connect with me. You know, we also have a website, spencer.vc. Yeah, you know, we're around. My personal account too is at sgsand1. So just kind of hanging out in the trenches, you know, all over the place.
In the game.
And now I finally made a Farcaster at SGS there. I got a cool one.
Well, hopefully that's still a thing next time you come on the show.
Hopefully so.
Just kidding, Farcaster boys. Relax. Anyway, Spencer, thanks for coming on, man. Can't wait to have you on again, and appreciate the insight as always.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. Sorry about my Wi-Fi PO. I know it stresses you out.
It just stresses me out because I want to hear what you have to say. Everyone wants to hear from you. So anyway, we'll get it sorted next time, and always love having you on the show, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Catch you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the co-founder of Honeyland. You heard me talking about the game, the organization earlier. Honeyland is a mobile-first play and earn, not play to play and earn casual strategy game for iOS and Android. They are today's partner. We have Corey Wright. Welcome to the show, Corey.
What's happening, guys? Happy to be here.
Oh, I love the camera. Let me just lead with, I love whatever camera setup you have. I'm all in.
Awesome. Well, I got to let you know, this is a little early for me. I'm in California, so I'm usually in the office at 7 a.m., but this 6 a.m. is just a different animal. Like getting up setting the alarm for like 4:55 was just a weird feeling this morning, but I'm here, man. I'm ready to go. I actually kind of like it.
Making me even happier because ladies and gentlemen, this is a quick note. This doesn't have anything to do with Honeyland or Corey, but I just have to put this out there. You'd be astonished at the amount of people that are like, I'm not going to wake up early under any circumstance. Hey, love your show. I listened to it after the fact. We can record something in the afternoon and air it the next day. A lot of people won't get up early, so we're 2 for 2 thus far with Corey on the show. Absolutely love to hear it. So look, Corey, as I mentioned, obviously, Honeyland, your organization, you are co-founder, mobile-first play and earn, casual strategy game for iOS and Android. It's already approved in app stores worldwide, which I have to imagine is not a small feat when you're building a game, that has any sort of crypto integration, no matter how big or small. But for people that are unaware, could you give us kind of a 60-second rundown of what Honeyland is and how the game works?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a strategy and resource management game. It's a mobile game, or mobile first. We have a web version that you can kind of use to like manage your colony and stuff. But essentially you come in, you assume the role of beekeeper. We give you a couple bees to start out. And then it's your job to keep those bees busy, send them out on strategic missions to different lands. And they're ultimately bringing back things from the environment, right? They're bringing back tokens, they're bringing back items that you'll be able to strategically kind of use those to strengthen and grow your colony of bees so it gets bigger and stronger and better. You can go out on more missions, you can level up through XP. And so it becomes this kind of strategy and resource management game of just building and growing your colony. I think it's it's kind of from the very beginning was always intended to be a really fun and opportunistic way to replace kind of these social media interactions that we have from time to time, where you're like waiting for a friend or you're riding shotgun and you just like need to pull your phone out and do something. This is a really good way that you can just kind of like, oh, it's time to do something, or you're on the John or whatever it is, right? You pull it out, see what bees aren't out yet, get them out on missions if they're sitting idle, and then come back a couple hours later, claim your rewards, and just kind of keep that cycle. It's a lot of fun, and it's a really cool community too.
It seems super cool. It's a casual game, not a hyper casual game, right? And so for maybe people that aren't huge on mobile gaming or don't know the difference, what's the difference there?
Yeah, the hyper casual games, I tend to think you can just like pick up. They're single session. You're generally not competing against anybody else. Think of these as like match 3 games and stuff like that. The more casual games, I would even say to some extent, this can become a mid-core game. You carry your kind of your progression over time. The goal is kind of it's a map that you're kind of going through to watch your XP, to progress through the game, to compete against others. And so there's a lot more going on than just like a single session kind of throwaway type of game.
Got it. And what is the Web3 component here? How is Web3 kind of tied into this, versus just making a good game, actually baking in some Web3 components?
Yeah, so there's NFTs, obviously. So when you come into the game, you get what we call Gen ZBs. These are just in-game items, but the goal is to graduate you to where you're able to earn enough to start to participate in kind of the Web3 where you have actual NFT bees. We've got like 150,000 total bees that are flying, NFT bees that are flying around Honeyland right now, which is really cool. And so that's one part of the Web3. And then the token that you're earning and spending and using in the game is HXD, which is also a cryptocurrency. You know, I heard you guys talking with Spencer earlier and kind of like the future of NFTs. I know one of you had mentioned that gaming could be kind of the savior here. We like to call our NFTs asset earning assets, right? So these are assets that as you earn them or purchase them, you can then send them out on missions to actually earn back. You talked about kind of like airdrops becoming a way to kind of like realize your investment. The idea of just gameplay helps you to realize your investment. And then you have the choice of, do you take what you've earned and use that to breed or hatch a new bee, or use that to spend it, upgrade other bees, or spend it in the game. Obviously, you of course have the option to take it out and sell it, but the goal is that we make that decision really difficult for you.
And I mean, that's what I envision being video games and Web3 sort of marriage. It makes a lot of sense. The execution factor is the only factor that the kind of market is waiting for a game where people like actually want to do it. You all have grown quite a bit recently in the past 30 days from 8,000 users to 18,000 plus daily active users. Is that right?
Yeah, and all that data comes directly through AppsFlyer. It's tracked in DataWisp. It's like using third-party sources that are pretty verifiable, and you can verify through DataWisp where we're pulling all these sources. But yeah, we're over 18,000 daily actives now. I haven't checked today since we made all the big announcements yesterday. I know that our Discord is full of Greenleaf names, so there's a lot of new people that are coming in, which is really, really cool. They're excited. We've got just an awesome team of mods and stuff who are welcoming all those people in. But yeah, it's you know, we've grown quite a bit, and you know, our goal is to really make this, like we call this like the Web 2.5 game. My goal is to put the blockchain in the background, take advantage of everything that Web3 has to offer with peer-to-peer transactions and microtransactions and real stakes gaming, and the idea of asset custody where you can trade those and move those freely. But that we take all the things that make Web3 gaming kind of frustrating right now, the ability to find it, or you know, have to like download a special app or something like that. Like, we're just available in app stores worldwide. Google Play, Apple iOS. You can sign up with a Google or an Apple ID. You don't need a wallet. You don't need cryptocurrency. You don't need NFTs. It's free to play as long as you want. You don't ever need to spend a dime to actually earn and participate in the economy. You can buy HXD as an in-app purchase, and starting next week, you'll be able to buy it through credit card using Stripe, so you don't even have those in-app purchase fees. We've got a fully integrated marketplace that we partner with Magic Eden, so you can list, buy, and sell NFTs inside of the app. You'll never have to leave the app, connect a wallet, sign a signature. It's all done in HXD. And so we've really built this like fully Web3 experience of a game. And by the way, when you play the game, I mean, the one thing that's irrefutable is that the graphics and the gameplay is solid. Like it feels great, right? And so like the fact that technically we've solved a lot of those things to put the blockchain in the background, remove a lot of the friction of Web3 games. And then we've really put a heavy focus on building like a sustainable economy, so that it's not just an extractor's paradise that people come in and you're waiting to see who's going to be left holding the bag. So.
And Easy has a question, and I also want to talk about the HXD token airdrop that was announced yesterday. But I do have to ask, Corey, have you filed a trademark for put the blockchain in the background? Have you done that yet?
It's funny. I literally just came up with that my team 2 days ago. I was like, the blockchain in the background needs to be. So this is the funny thing. Breeding and hatching was always this thing in the game that would take like, you know, whatever the blockchain time is to do that. It would take 15, 20 seconds. And so people would like do this. And we just kind of had like these graphics of like people kissing or hearts or whatever, if you were like breeding, right? Or if you were hatching, like we have this hatching machine. And because of all the Solana network congestion, the last 30 days, my team has been completely reworking everything so that when you go to breed, it just says, hey, this takes a little while. We'll let you know when it's ready. And then we just keep retrying effortlessly or endlessly on the back end until it goes through. And then we notify you when it goes through, right? And so our players who've been playing forever, they're like, this is the greatest thing. Even though it may take 5 minutes instead of 30 seconds now, the fact that they don't have to wait. And I was like, guys, this is it. We've done this for so many other things. We put it in the background for missions and upgrades and everything that we could. And then this was kind of the final piece, the blockchain connected pieces. We left it in the front. And as soon as we moved it to the back, everybody loved it. We just need to make that our new motto, put the blockchain in the background.
I absolutely love that. I feel like it's trademarkable. Easy, you have a question, then we'll talk about the HXD airdrop.
Yeah, it's part of that. I know that yesterday you guys had a very long, I would say, live stream, about an hour and 15 minutes. And I'm sure it covered I've watched most of it, but I guess the big thing with that was like, could you give a TLDR for those who have not tuned into it? It's a ton of jam-packed information. Obviously, the HXD airdrop, ton of breaking news that's going on with Honeyland and everything else that you guys got cooking. And I'm definitely just curious if you have like a TLDR for those who may have missed it. And if I can recommend, it's worth going and diving through and actually listening to it.
Yeah, so the real TLDRs, we did this whole thing as a live stream just like this, but we did it with Twitter announcements. So like Twitter thread number 1 would go out, and that would be like announcement number 1. We had 9 different announcements. So it's actually, I need a list to remember all the things that we announced yesterday. And then we also put together a Medium article. So because we're a Web 2.5 game, we can't just rely on Discord for all of our announcements. So months back, we started doing everything through Medium as a way that it can be very accessible to both Web 2 and Web 3. And so if you go to honey.land and scroll to the very, very bottom, you'll find all of our social links. Go to Medium. We have a full recap. Vero from our team, she's absolutely incredible. She puts together recaps of all the AMAs, videos, announcements, everything we do. And so you can kind of dive in, but it's partnerships. HXD staking will go live next week. The HXD on-ramps. We have HXD identities. I just made a tweet earlier today. You can now go get like whatever your username is, .hxd.sol as a vanity domain. And again, this is huge for like Web 2 players, right? When they see this, what looks like a bank account for your wallet, public ID wallet address, it's like wildly confusing. So we're like, let's make it look more like an email address. Let's just give them, filbertsteiner.hxd.sol. And that's where people can send assets to. And so I just did a tweet. I'm sending 100 HXD to the first 10 people who sent me their HXD email address. We have officially licensed. We have an official license deal with NASA. We just launched some NASA traits inside of our game that you can fuse onto your bees. So there's a bunch of NASA bees floating around Honeyland now, like with astronaut helmets and astronaut suits and NASA shirts and hats. We're doing some stuff with Bodagos. I don't know if we want to talk about that.
That was my next question. Obviously, got to talk about how this partnership extends to Bodagos holders. So would love to hear that.
So I am a proud Bodagos holder, have been for a long, long time also. And yeah, bullish on the community. You guys know that and everything that you guys are building with the Nifty and Bodagos and everything. So what we're doing is as part of this airdrop. So just to be clear, the airdrop actually starts on May 10th. But until then, you can start playing Honeyland because the farther you get, like every XP level you reach will unlock more points for the airdrop. So you can if you get to level 15 before May 10th, you'll walk in and be able to claim 1,100 points immediately for your airdrop, right? So there's no reason to not start playing. You can also, it's heavily based on like referrals. So if you start referring people that are coming in and playing the game, you can knock up referral points, which will give you big multipliers. Those are the things that you can do now. And then we've got with Drip House, we've got like a sponsored campaign this week. Go to drip.house, go claim your free Honeyland thing, put it in your wallet. And then what we're doing with Bodagos is anybody who holds a Bodago, and all you have to do is hold it in your game wallet. One of the airdrop kind of bonuses will be if you're a Bodagos holder, you'll be able to claim points towards the airdrop simply by holding Bodagos. And so this will be really cool. We're also going to have a really cool Bodagos badge that'll be in the game. So anybody who claims it will also have like a badge on your profile that you can proudly rep Bodagos. We'll do this with you guys, and then we'll announce a couple other communities that we've got cooking. But yeah, just some really cool stuff. We were able to do a partnership with Steppen that we just announced. So we have like shoe traits that'll be on bees for the very, very first time. I know Steppen seems like a little bit of an old narrative, but there's still a massive community. And with what they're doing with Gas Hero and more, the marketplace, like they're still cooking as a studio. Like Steppen is a little bit kind of old, but it's a really, really fun brand. And they were an inspiration to us early on. And so it's really cool to kind of have that throwback. So
yes, that ancient 30-month-old organization, Steppen, so old at this point. It might as well be Oracle. It's a dinosaur in the game. Well, Corey, incredibly excited about that. And just to kind of simplify it for the Bodagos holders. So let's say I hold a Bodago. I want to get involved with Honeyland and with this airdrop. I'm downloading the game, right? I'm connecting my wallet that has my Bodago in it. Are those essentially the steps?
Yeah, and then when the airdrop period opens up, we're either going to do a snapshot on the last day or we'll do a claim. It'll be one or the other. We'll make it very, very clear ahead of all of this. But yeah, it'll be one of those two things. And alternatively, if you wanted to set up like a Honeyland wallet, of course, you could set up a Honeyland wallet, move your Bodago to do the claim or for the snapshot, and then move it back as well. So you won't have to hold it in there forever. But yeah, one of those two ways, we'll make it very clear. But yeah, or just take the wallet that holds your Bodago, go set up your Honeyland account, and you're off and running.
Okay, and to be clear, it's not necessary to transfer the Bodagos. They can, users can actually use their default, whether it's like a Phantom wallet or something else, wallet to actually connect to Honeyland. Is that right?
Correct. So you can either set up with like a Google or Apple account if you don't, if you're not a Web3 native, but if you have a Phantom or a Soulflare, you can go in and connect any wallet that you have and access the game that way.
And can I just say one thing? I literally did this morning. I saw you guys were coming on, Corey, and I went out because I like testing some of the stuff. So I went on. It literally took me, I kid you not, 2 minutes to download the app. I go in there, connected my Phantom wallet, and it literally takes 2 minutes, and it's like a normal game. Like I know we talked.
Crazy idea.
Crazy idea. It was like playing Clash Royale or Candy Crush, where it was like you sign in, you create an account, you can either go Google email, Apple email, or it says Phantom. I was like, oh, okay, like this is freaking crazy idea. I just want to give another quick shout out to you guys. I'm a big like social media guy. You guys are crushing it on Twitter, like absolutely crushing it.
That's high praise. Clemente's a huge hater, so that's high praise right there.
So whatever you guys are doing on the social media front, keep doing it. I was like, oh, there's like 4 or 5 tweets going out per day. They're not playing around. There were videos. The camera setup was incredible. So kudos to you guys and to everyone listening. Just use the pinned link or the one in the description to go download it, connect your wallet. It literally takes 2 minutes, and there's a little tutorial that teaches you how to play the game.
Yeah.
Incredible. So, Corey, the calls to action for people that want to get involved, download Honeyland using the link that's pinned at the top of the Twitter Spaces, if that's how you're consuming this content. If you're on YouTube, it's in the description. We'll tweet it out if you're following the Twitter account and not on the space right now. If you're like listening to a recording, or if you're listening to the audio podcast version of this, or just go to the App Store, search Honeyland. It's not going to be hard to find. And follow Honeyland on X platform, on Twitter. That's at Play Honeyland, PlayHoneyland. Anything else people should do, Corey?
Yeah, I see in the comments people asking, is it only mobile or can you play on the web? It is a mobile first game, which means you'll need to set up your account through mobile. But once your account's set up, you can go to play.honey.land. And we do have what we call more of like a mobile companion. It's great for sending your bees out on missions, claiming rewards, upgrading your bees, but it doesn't have like the fully integrated marketplace. It doesn't have the cosmetic shop. It doesn't have some of the things that you can do through the app. So I would say, it is both, but it's more of it is a mobile first game.
I love the development of the broader Web3 gaming sector, and you guys are just right there at the front of it with this. And I just love keeping it simple and not, quite frankly, being weird about how you roll this stuff out. You can log in with Google. Crazy idea. You just connect a wallet. Boom, easy to use. It's in the App Store. It's a good game. It's a simple game. It kind of, it's not reinventing the wheel. And I just feel like a lot of Web3 gaming entities, that's something that they're missing. I saw a clip with the NVIDIA CEO Jensen from like 20 years ago. So before NVIDIA was NVIDIA, right? Like 20 years ago. And he was talking about how they were prioritizing keeping it simple. You don't have to change the world overnight. You can change the world over a matter of years through a lot of simple things that, like little wins that allow you to live to play another game. And in a sector like ours, which is so fast moving and so hard to stay relevant, it's great to see simplicity. Also, just absolutely love that you woke up early for this and that you have an actual good camera. The amount of CEOs running multi-million-dollar businesses that know that they're going to have to do different press and media that don't have a camera or mic, it drives me nuts. So I really appreciate that. That's a personal touch for me, Corey. But thanks so much for joining. And any other calls to action people should have besides downloading the game, connecting their wallet, and the different things that we've kind of talked about here?
Yeah, and then when you get in the game, you're going to have to refer one friend. That's like one of the qualifications. Download, play, and refer one friend in order to qualify for the airdrop. So start early, you get more points that way. And so use my code. There we go.
Yeah, we got Dano saying use my code. I love it. I mean, look, you gotta try to get stuff across the line. We just showed you some love, Dano. We put it on the screen. Also love Bachelor Society saying this guy is a legit CEO. Love it. Again, crazy idea, ladies and gentlemen. A legit CEO in our sector. But anyway, really, this was a pleasure having you on, Corey. I'm sure we'll get some great clips from this too. Thank you for joining, and can't wait to see what comes of Honeyland and Honeyland with Bodoggos involved in the partnership. Thanks so much for joining today.
Very honored to be here, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. We will be back tomorrow. We do the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, each and every week, where we discuss all things crypto, NFTs, everything in between, all markets of all shapes and sizes. If you listen to the show on Twitter Spaces, make sure that you give it a like. If you're checking it out on YouTube, like and subscribe. Show's also available on Apple and Spotify podcasts, really wherever you get your podcasts. Like I said, we will be back